Hello everybody, thanks for tuning in to today's video. I want to look at today's video at the weather next week and as we head into the 10-day period. Now I will come back and have a look at the weekend at the end of this video because we are going to see some quite heavy rain across the drought-stricken areas of central, eastern and southern England through this weekend. But it's not going to be a prolonged breakdown because once we get to next week, we're going back to high pressure yet again, and back to high pressure really is showing no sign of relenting in the medium to longer term. It will let a bit of a low pressure in this weekend, but really the high pressure is coming back with a vengeance next week. Now this chart that you're looking at here is the 8 to 10 day height anomaly charts for the ECMWF model and the GFS model. Now at 500 millibars, 18,000 feet is important because that's the area in the atmosphere where weather takes place. We have areas of high pressure and low pressure forming. These high pressure areas and low pressure areas are moved around by the jet stream, and it's really these pressure areas that give us weather. When we have high pressure, the weather is usually settled. When we have low pressure, the weather will be unsettled. Now the high pressure is shown up on these height anomaly charts by these orange and red areas here, and the low pressure is usually shown up by these blue areas here. So what this chart is showing here is that the ECM model in 8 to 10 days time is showing a large area of high pressure above normal heights across much of the British Isles. Now what's important to look at here really is this green line, because this is the jet stream. The jet stream is coming out of the United States, it's digging down, and then it's pushing northwards into the north of that blocking area of high pressure. So this is really a classic blocking signal, and that high pressure will be very dominant and entrenched if this comes off. Now this is quite interesting, this little feature here. This is just perhaps a little area of low pressure developing around the Bay of Biscay underneath this area of high pressure. The high pressure is so far north that actually we are running the risk of developing a little low pressure underneath that high pressure. So perhaps not far away from bringing some showers to southern areas, but really the high pressure is very dominant on this height anomaly chart from the ECMWF. And if you have a look at the JFS, it's a very similar picture. Really. There's the above normal heights again. It's to the north and the northeast of the British Isles really, but the high pressure is very, very dominant across this entire northwestern part of Europe, and that's keeping the settled weather going. The low pressure, the below normal heights, is being kept back here in the Atlantic from Greenland down towards the Azores. So the NAO, the North Atlantic Oscillation, is actually close to going negative here on this chart, and we might start to run some energy in through the Mediterranean. But the really thing to look at with this, that high pressure is dominant both on the GFS and on the ECMWF for next week, so that will be bringing us a return to very settled conditions. If we have a look at the pressure charts from, first of all we'll have a look at the GFS model, and this is for 10 days time. We can see why the height anomaly charts were showing those above normal heights, and we've got this big area of high pressure here over Scandinavia. Winds are from the south or southeast, perhaps bringing a little bit of energy through in towards the Bay of Biscay, but really it's a very settled picture from this weather chart for the British Isles, not just for British Isles, but much of northern, western and central Europe as well. And if we have a look at the ECMWF, well, that just backs up what the height anomaly chart was showing. The high pressure is very dominant there, really to the north of Scotland, but it is dominant across the whole of northwestern Europe. Have to go right up to the north of Scandinavia to find the low pressure, or perhaps down towards the Bay of Biscay where we do have some energy cutting through. And that high pressure, as I say, will be giving us lots of dry and settled weather. Looking at the Canadian model for GEM, that's very similar really. High pressure, very dominant again to the north of Scotland. Again, we're perhaps bringing a little bit of energy through into the Mediterranean. But the main thing for us is this high pressure is continuing to keep the weather very dry and settled. So really next week I think we are going back to high pressure. We may get some low pressure this weekend, and we probably will get some low pressure this weekend. It will give us some rain, but really the main emphasis is that the drought goes on despite the rain this weekend, because high pressure will be coming back next week. Now I just want to have a quick look at this weekend's weather And this is the facts charts from the Met Office. This is the human interpretation of the Met Office model, and we see that for midnight on Saturday morning we have this weather front line across the central part of the country. That will be bringing some outbreaks of rain. If we watch what happens through the course of Saturday, that weather front actually develops an area of low pressure. So this is looking like some very useful rain indeed across many parts of England and Wales on Saturday. The heaviest rain will be where the triple point is. This is a triple point low, called a triple point because we have 3 weather fronts coming together in a triple point, and the heaviest rain will be where we have that triple point. So that really is just where we need it across many parts of the Midlands, into East Anglia, Lincolnshire, down into the southeast. Could be some very, very useful rain indeed on Saturday. And note, we bring some quite cold air into the north of this triple point. So for Scotland and Northern Ireland this weekend, it will be quite cold and there could be some wintry showers. And then as we head on into a Sunday morning, midnight Sunday morning, the facts chart is showing that low pressure, the triple point low moving away to the east, taking away the heaviest of that rain. But this does look like being very useful rain really for the weekend across many parts of England and Wales, just where we need it, where we've got the drought. And it's very similar to what happened not last weekend but the weekend before that. Actually, we had a little area of low pressure running across the country, and that's followed by a build of high pressure, and that's what's going to happen this time. We will bring an area of low pressure, it will give us some useful rain, but the high pressure will come back. Now just have a look at the precipitation charts from the GFS model, and this is for Saturday. This is showing heavy rain across much of England and Wales. GFS is forecasting heavy rain across much of England and Wales here, exactly where we need it, through the central and eastern and southeastern parts of the country. And as we go on into Sunday, that rain is still going strong across many of these eastern parts of England. So that could be a good 12 hours or so of really useful and steady rain across many of these central and eastern parts of England. That could give anything up to maybe half an inch in places, and that, as I say, will be very useful. But it isn't an end to the drought, because to get a real end to the drought, we do have to break the high pressure down for a prolonged period. We have to bring low pressure through and maintain it for a few months really to really break the drought. That's not going to happen, because despite the rain this weekend, we go back to the high pressure next week and the weather will become very settled once again. That's it for now.